Do you think Nick Fuentes literally just supporting the invasion of Ukraine is worth talking about? Do you think that Marjorie Taylor Greene calling for violence against trans kids is an important thing? Do you think that we've at least shown that that wasn't a Democrat lie, that she said the things that were literally recorded that she said? Alrighty, we got some stuff to cover. Apparently, the lowest level scumsuckers on the internet cannot help but dig their own holes lower, which is not great, but we got to talk about it irrespective of that. So first, let's go ahead and go into fan art, and then we'll go into what we got to talk about. So here is a Slimesaurus fan art from Cosmo. I said it's a bit goofy, but you know what? It's fine. Next, we have a Slimesaurus fan art that was done by Aaron Primette. I know this one is not on the Discord right now, but it was sent via DMs, and I didn't want to end up forgetting to put it up. Speaking of one sent in DMs that I haven't seen on the Discord quite yet, we have a very fun piece from Pernia. For those who don't know, Pernia is the one who made the Dakimakura for the channel. But we had Channel Pup edited his avatar when we were all playing video games together for Sunset City stuff to have Nick's Game Apologist's sweater jacket thing. So Pernia just edited me with a pup Daki with us both just wearing Nick's clothes. And yeah, no, I'm happy with it. But anyways, as always, everybody, if you want your fan art to be showcased, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord, where I'll get to it in as close to chronological order as I can manage. With all that said, thank you all for your fan art submissions. So the first thing we got to talk about, there's a bit of a conference that Nick Fuentes was holding, his America First live from Orlando Fun Fest. Shortly before bringing up Marjorie Taylor Greene, unfortunately I'm way too familiar with this individual, the camera showed a sizable and raucous crowd and Fuentes praising our secret sauce of young white men. Not sure why the emphasis had to be there. Feels really, really awkward, but you know. Fuentes then solicited a round of applause for Russia and its invasion of Ukraine. So let's just hear what happens when you have the America First conference.
And you want to know the secret? To borrow a phrase from a friend of mine, our secret sauce here, it's these young white men.
The question always comes, why do you have to emphasize it like that? When you emphasize it like that, the gears in my head start turning about the actual reason why you're doing that. But let's continue.
That's what we call the secret ingredient. America and the world has forgotten about them, but not us. You know, they say about America, they say, diversity is our strength, you know. And I look at China and I look at Russia. Can we give a round of applause for Russia? Yes. Absolutely, absolutely. Now, but I take a look around.
Remember, it doesn't matter that your country is engaging in, severe violations by invading another democratic country. It doesn't matter that the sovereignty of another nation is being violated. All that matters in the minds of people like Nicholas Fuentes is that, well, at least there's not brown people there. What? Okay. So was this before the 24th? This was posted on the 25th. But, it's not just that. It's not the only bit we have from Nicholas J. Fuentes, whom, if I could remind everybody, well, I don't have to remind anybody of him. We'll just play the clip.
And now they're going on about Russia and Vladimir Putin is Hitler, and they say that's not a good thing. And I shouldn't have said that.
Can you just take a minute. Take a minute. I want you to take a minute in the mind of an individual.
And now they're going on about Russia and Vladimir Putin is Hitler, and they say that's not a good thing. And I shouldn't have said that.
Like, I just want you to take a moment, the moment of realization. The moment he realizes what he's said and what he's like, how he's got to walk that back. The gears turn in this one moment of, oh shit, I just said live on camera, Hitler's good. Or at the very least implied it so heavily that now I've got to find a way to salvage this. He said, no, you should say what you believe so we know just how much of a fucking traitor as fuck what you are. Understandable. But don't worry. That's not all the disappointment. You see, Marjorie Taylor Greene was at this conference. This was and she was one of the speakers at this conference. So let's take a listen. Let's take a listen to some of the things that might have to be said from one such person. Said, wait, is he pro-Russia? Yes. Yes, Nicolas Fuentes is pro-Russia. You have to understand, the dude's a Nazi. And I don't say that with, like... I don't say that to say that, oh, the people I don't like are Nazis. Like, no, I'm saying Nick Fuentes has engaged in Holocaust denialism, has engaged in praising of Adolf Hitler, has engaged in flagrant ethno-nationalism, palingenetic ultranationalism, literally everything that would be required to put you in the category of fascist, and specifically within the Nazi ideology of 1940s Germany. These are things that he has openly celebrated over and over again on his channel. Totalitarian dictators, so long as they're white and tell brown people to leave, are A-okay in the minds of Nick Fuentes, and he's been open about that. So when I say Nick Fuentes is a fucking Nazi, here we are. Oh, this is powered by Trinity Audio. Interesting. Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene appeared to suggest the threat of violence is exactly how we need to stand up against trans and non-binary people in society. Speaking on conspiracy theorist Alex Jones' InfoWars show on February 20th, Greene criticized reports that biologically male counselors who use they-them pronouns at a science camp in California shared a cabin with fifth-grade girls, as well as a transgender woman competing in sporting events. So I'm not gonna lie. If you've ever in chat, has anybody in chat ever been to a camp, like gone to one of those camps that you go to for like a week, you know, out in the cabins with a camp counselor? There's probably a pool and some activities that you have to do. Anybody ever done that? Summer camp, I've been 3 times. Yeah, there you go. Okay, cool. If you've been to summer camp, you know that it is standard for the camp counselor to be in the same cabin as all of the people who are there at the camp. That was normal at the camps that I went to growing up, and that's pretty normal for most camps. Now, usually they don't sleep in the same bunking area, of course, but they generally do end up being in the same cabin. In America, you were all put in the same room? No, the same cabin, not the same room. So when Marjorie Taylor Greene is freaking out about this, oh no, somebody uses they-them pronouns and they were in a cabin with, you know, children. Marjorie, what about somebody's pronouns makes them more of a threat to your children? So the cabins are usually just one room? Not in the cabins I went to. Greene also described the reports that the non-binary counselors at Camp Pali in San Bernardino slept in the same cabin as the schoolgirls as evil, before suggesting her husband would have attacked the counselors if her children were at that camp. Maybe we should be seeking therapy for your husband. If your husband would violently act out that an adult who, as a counselor, their job is to look after your kids. This is the thing that you paid them to do. And when they did the thing you paid them to do, that you would attack them, maybe your husband needs to either preemptively lock himself up or seek some kind of help to figure out why that kind of anger is coming out here. The husband that's a sex offender? Yeah, that's Lauren Baber. One I went to had the counselor in the room as the cabin was only one room, but I've only been to one. Gotcha. Continuing on, she said, first off, I was a parent and my 5th grade daughter had to sleep and showered in the same kind of cabin at some summer camp that I paid money to send my child to, and there was a man calling himself a woman sleeping in her cabin, showering with her. That guy would be in jail. He'd be in jail. Wait, but why would he be showering with her? Hold on. No, that's not what's being talked about. Where did showering with your child come into play? I agree wholeheartedly if an adult is showering with your child. At this point, yeah, now somebody's crossed a line. This is an area to get very defensive about. Is there any evidence that that happened? Or are you just making up a guy? Like, are you just making up a person at this point? Is that what you're doing? What's that old adage? Half of Twitter's making up a guy and then getting really angry at that guy? Anytime you say they say this, you're engaging in making up a guy. Maybe to Marjorie Taylor Greene, showering with children is normal. I don't know. I'm not about to throw that accusation out there. Said, well, first off, my husband would have beat him into the ground. Then he'd be in jail, but this is exactly how we need to stand up against this stuff. There was no suggestion that the counselors showered with the 5th graders at the cabin, and the parents of Weaver Elementary School have not accused them of any crime. Greene's comments were condemned after they were highlighted by Media Matters America. Wow. Wow. Can you imagine making accusations without any evidence whatsoever? Can you imagine that? Remember, this is somebody who was invited to a literal Nazi conference where Adolf Hitler gets completely and totally, praised by the person hosting the conference. I just have to ask you a question. If you sit at the dinner table with Nazis and you do not actively do anything to change the minds of said Nazis, and you are taking endorsements from said Nazis, and then you lie about camp counselors afterwards, what is the actual argument for me to vote for you in Georgia? I'm just curious. As an individual with a matter of integrity, if this is your track record, then I am to believe that should I vote for you in the upcoming election, then you are going to bring within Georgia somebody taking up a seat who is with Nazis, has literally argued that Jewish space lasers were responsible for the California wildfires. And you literally lie about what people do at summer camps. So a lying, conspiratorial thinking Nazi, based on the data presented, this is the person. This is supposed to be my person, who's supposed to represent me up at Washington, right? That's what this is supposed to be? Nah. Get the fuck out of my state. Minnesota Democratic Party Chairman Ken Martin tweeted, GOP Representative Greene went on TV and advocated for physical assault against trans people. If you think these ideas are outside the mainstream for the GOP, consider this. She is the biggest GOP congressional fundraiser in the United States. Yeah, because she's also... I'm not going to say she's a grifter, because I think she believes everything she says. But I'm not going to say that there's not a significant amount of the money is important for her. Continuing on, Arthur Ron Hogan said, just to be clear, Greene was not speaking metaphorically. She unequivocally put forward literal physical assault as a preferred solution to the problem of the trans people existing in society. When approached for comment by Newsweek, Greene spokesperson Nick Dyer says, you're a liar. She didn't call for violence. Stop regurgitating Democrat activists. I understand. The idea that you should not regurgitate lies on the internet. I get it. So, we are going to do our own due diligence. Because we have, on the Media Matters website, the clip, which would be right here, doesn't exist. The source is not found. Huh. I just have to wonder, if it's a lie that you said the thing, then why has the evidence that would be in your favor been scrubbed from the internet? Kind of feels like maybe that's a bit dumb. Well, we at least have evidence she was, in fact, on the show with Alex Jones.
It's straight evil. First off, if I was a parent and my 5th grade daughter had to sleep and shower in some kind of cabin at some summer camp that I paid money to send my child to, and there was a man calling himself a woman sleeping in her cabin, showering with her, that guy he'd be in jail. He would be in jail. Well, first off, my husband would have beat him into the ground, and then he'd be in jail. But this is exactly how we need to stand up against this stuff. And then the men, this guy, Leah Thompson, I'm sorry, that's William, and he...
No, it's Leah. Unless you're fine being called Tom, Marjorie. You know, no, it's Tom Green. She's Tom Green now.
He's not a she, he's a he. He should not be competing in women's swimming. No, but here's what we have to do. We have to draw the line in the sand and say we are not willing to cross it. This is such perversion, but it's also grooming children. It's grooming them to believe things that are lies.
You literally have purported that Jewish space lasers knocked out half of California. Come on. Don't talk about what you think are lies. You are not the litmus test for lies here.
And that are completely wrong. No, children are not born a certain way thinking they're another gender. It's their parents that are training them that way.
So, hold on. I have a question. Marjorie, if somebody whose parent is either a transphobe or somebody who just doesn't believe in trans people at all, if a kid grows up and at 12 or 13 they start experiencing gender dysphoria, and then they go to counseling and they try to figure it out and they realize, oh shit, this isn't something going away. So they go on puberty blockers to see if that helps a little bit. And they notice that as they androgynize, they do not feel as bad. So they go, okay, when I dress a certain way, when I'm called a certain way, and when I act a certain way, and when I think a certain way, I stop hurting. But I hurt in every other scenario. This kid is probably trans. More than likely. They've hit the markers. And this is just through a medical lens. I don't think that dysphoria is the only thing, obviously, that makes somebody trans. But this is one lens. So you've got a kid who has had no influence from their parent, and I could pull you up thousands of these examples of kids who have had no trans-positive influence from their parents, but have realized medically something is wrong and they need to do something to fix it. You would say that that was the parent indoctrinating the child, or are you just that dumb?
It's these mothers that think it's like a handbag. They need to have a boy, a girl, and a trans child, like as if there's some kind of accessory.
A status, it's exactly. It's like Hollywood stars and all the things they've engaged in. Exactly.
So that is too.
And we're not worried about the actual commentary from the analysis. I don't care about their commentary because we're here where I'm giving my commentary. So, I have a question. So, how many people want a trans child specifically? I would argue that the number is probably quite low. Most parents want a comfortable child. They want a happy child. This made-up idea that parents are trying to get specific types of children over and above. Well, actually, you know what? No, it's projection. I just realized it's projection. I'm going to give this argument in a different way. And hopefully this will contextualize it as projection. The parent who wants their child to be a football star. The parent who wants their child to be a doctor. The parent who doesn't want the child to discover what they want in their life, but instead has a mold they want to fit their child into so that they can vicariously live through those experiences. The parent might not have been successful, but they want their child to be successful so they can share in that. That type of deal. You know, were this a different scenario, these are the same mechanics. If you're a parent, you do need to understand your child will not grow up into what you expect them to, because you don't have your child's mind. Best thing is to want the best for your child. Hopefully they don't harm themselves and others. But instead, Marjorie Taylor Greene would rather instead of supporting something like that, would rather go in and lie about what she thinks is happening at a camp where her kids aren't at, where she has no information about. She just assumes that if somebody has they, them pronouns, they're obviously a rapist. And I hate to keep on reiterating the point. I hate to keep sticking the point. If you are invited and you accept the invite to go speak at Nick Fuentes' shit, the dude's like one step adjacent of freaking Nick Spencer. Or Richard Spencer. Yeah, I hope all of Marjorie Taylor Greene's kids are cis too, because otherwise they're in for boatloads of abuse. And this is the person who's supposed to represent me. This is the person who's supposed to represent me. Apparently. Okay. But what do you guys think? Do you think Nick Fuentes literally just supporting the invasion of Ukraine is worth talking about? Do you think that Marjorie Taylor Greene calling for violence against trans kids is an important thing? Do you think that we've at least shown that that wasn't a fucking Democrat lie? That she said the things that were literally recorded that she said? I don't know. You tell me. Let me know in the comment section below. But with that said, as always, everybody, if you want to support the show and what I do, please hit the like button over on YouTube, subscribe if you haven't already, follow over on Twitch, and as always, everyone, insert in the video tagline here.